In the hills of southern Kentucky, not far from the Tennessee border, there's an old road where strange things have been happening for years. Locals call it Coldwater Ridge Road. It runs through farmland, woods, and a place that for some reason doesn't feel right. People who grew up nearby talk about strange lights, voices, and things moving through the fog. But one family went through something even worse. At the far end of that road sits the Elk River Valley, and in 2006, a teenage boy named Carter moved there with his family. Their single-story house sat alone on the hill, surrounded by fields and dense woods. It looked peaceful enough from the outside. It should have been calm, but it wasn't. His parents were often busy with work, so Carter spent most of his time alone at the house with their dog. A few weeks after moving in, he was mowing one of the hills behind the house. The ground dipped suddenly and the tractor jumped like he had hit something right under the surface. He turned around to check the area. In the newly cut grass, he found 4 graves, not deep, but each marked with a simple stone and partly sunken. The family asked a local historian about them, who said they were probably Native American graves buried in a hurry along an old travel path back in the 1830s. Maybe people who died from sickness, cold, or something else. Folks say the land never let go what happened here, some old tragedy no one wrote down. From that day on, the land felt different. At first, it was small things, heavy steps outside the house, knocks on the walls at night, always moving and never stopping. Carter couldn't sleep. He felt like something was outside watching him. Sometimes he heard it run fast from one side of the house to the other. His golden retriever, Maggie, started growling at the empty doorways. She wouldn't sleep anywhere but next to Carter, with her body shaking through the night. One evening, Carter stepped out to let Maggie out. The air was completely still. No wind, no sound. But then he heard whispering, quiet at first like soft talking in the distance. He looked around. The trees didn't move. The leaves were still, but the whispering got louder, closer, and more steady. It sounded like talking, or maybe even chanting. Maggie's fur stood up. She started growling, not barking, frozen in place with her teeth showing. Then he smelled it. Sulfur. Before Carter could move, Maggie jumped into the dark, barking and biting at something he couldn't see. He grabbed her, pulled her back, and slammed the door shut. The door frame started shaking like something was trying to break in from the other side. They stayed in the middle of the house until the sun came up, with Maggie shaking in his lap. All night, something hit the back door, slow and steady, like a drum beat. Then, things got even worse. One night after football practice, Carter walked into the house, dropped his bag near the door, and turned toward the living room. Then he saw it. A rocking chair, moving slowly back and forth. In the chair sat something. It looked like a person, but it was all black, like it was made of shadows. It had long hair hanging over its face, and it looked like it was reading a book. Carter froze. The thing suddenly moved, not running but sliding really fast, like it had peeled itself off the wall. It shot across the room and went out the far window, straight into the trees. Maggie barked and scratched at the wall where it disappeared. Other people started noticing strange things too. One day, Carter's little cousin pointed across the river and asked, "Does that lady need help?" Carter froze immediately because he had seen her before. Across the water, a pale woman in a white dress was walking barefoot, picking up rocks and dropping them again. She moved like she was looking for something she had lost there long ago, scanning the ground near the riverbank with a quiet desperation. Once, Carter swore he saw her standing by the graves at dusk, her head bowed like she was mourning, her hands hovering over the stones like she knew who lay beneath them. But the scariest thing happened on July 4th. Carter, his dad, and a few family friends who were camping by the river. Each person had a lantern as it got dark. As the last light faded, something changed. A sudden cold moved through the area, then all the lanterns got brighter at once, then went out, then turned back on again. This happened a couple of times. Then they all shut off for good. That's when they heard the scream. A woman screaming from the other side of the river. It was loud and full of pain. The scream got louder and then it stopped, like someone had cut it off. A few seconds later, they heard a splash. Then came footsteps, first in the water, then walking along the rocks. They pointed their flashlights in every direction, but nothing was there. They didn't wait around to find out what it was. They ran. That night, the pounding on the house came back. This time it was louder, and it didn't stop. In the days that followed, Carter started losing time. He would go walking in the woods, and hours would pass without him noticing. One time he woke up lying next to the graves in the field, soaking wet with sweat, even though it was cold outside. His shoes were caked with mud, and when he checked his pockets, he found an old tarnished coin, something that didn't belong to him. It was etched with strange markings he couldn't read. His dreams got dark too, people being hurt, his own body being dragged through the house by something he couldn't see. Sometimes the black figure, the shadow man as he called it, would press its hand into his chest. He would wake up gasping, with his chest sore and his body shaking. The final event came during a visit to a nearby landmark, the remains of a 19th century homestead, locally known as the Marker. Rumors tied it to old spiritual practices and violent deaths. Carter warned his friends not to provoke anything, but one of the friends, laughing, jumped onto the Marker and shouted, "I don't believe in any of this crap." The air temperature dropped instantly. Mist rolled across the fields. Then they heard breathing, deep and heavy, not normal, like a giant cave breathing out. All around them, they heard footsteps. It sounded like something big was walking in a circle around them. They ran. As Carter reached the end of the field, something hit him hard from behind. He fell onto the rocks, out of breath. Nearby, he saw a large stone. The next morning, his lower back was covered in bruises. The family moved not long after. Carter said the land never wanted them there. He still wonders if something out there was trying to keep a piece of them behind. He kept the coin though, he's not sure why, and sometimes he dreams of the shadow man holding that same book, reading it like it's waiting for him to come back. He doesn't tell his story very often, but when he does, he always ends it the same way. It wasn't the house that was haunted, it was the hill, and I'm sure of it, and I think it still is.